So today we're going to be discussing criticism. Criticism is a very harsh word for trying to improve things, right? And a nicer, better way of saying things, how can we improve? And when we're looking about how to improve for whatever reason, we're always looking at the other one. We're not necessarily looking at ourselves, right? We should always try to be looking at ourselves. Where can I improve? What can I do better? But sometimes it is very true that you live with somebody and there are things that they do that bother you, or they did something wrong, and we have to deal with the fallout. So then, how do we work together to improve a situation when somebody is going to be overly sensitive, like we discussed last week? This is a major yesod, is that a woman is always looking to see that my husband really thinks highly of me. My husband looks, respects me, which is a very big thing. A man has to show respect to his wife, and to show that he appreciates what she does, and he respects her as a person, as his wife. So therefore, when a woman feels that I did something wrong, so the natural feeling after that is, and therefore I don't deserve his respect, love, appreciation because I did something bad. That is very hurtful. That is probably one of the most hurtful feelings that a woman can have, is that in my husband's eyes, I did not do right, which is why any type of criticism is very hard. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be able to live, in like this forever. Some things are very, very hard, and sometimes they really do need changing. So let's talk about a few potential ideas. Eight is what can be done in these situations. Number one, when it comes to any type of damage done in the home, things do break, or money gets wasted. Things like, we have chad pami, we have these throwaway plates. So we bought a stack of 200 of them, but for some reason we go through them so fast. How does that happen? Oh, we realize at the end, instead of taking one, you take 6 at a time, right? Something like well, that's a big waste, right? Why did that happen? Or you have like a whole package of cups and you find them all spewed out on the floor and everybody's stepping on them. So why did the package of cups itself is not so expensive, right? But if you buy a lot of them, why is this happening? A big eitzah, if it's possible, if a person could be mavater completely on any type of nezek in his home, any type of damage in the home, it is a great skula for shalom bayis.
Try to fix in a respectful, loved way the situation.
So
it's better to mevater and not say
many
anything.
many times these situations, they can come up a lot, and if they come up a lot, so then you see that this is not a mahalach for our home. It's not a mahalach. Also, you have to keep in mind that our children are learning also. This is the home that the children grow up in, is the home that they're going to be modeling their own home after. So if they're in their home, there's just a tremendous amount of waste and tremendous amount of damage. So that just might not be good chinuch, but it has to be done in a way that's really the shem shamayim. It can't be done in a way that's just angry, right? This is the type of thing. So it depends. It really depends. Sometimes it's easier just to be mavater. And that's if you think about it for a second, just take a step back for a second. Who has the harder job? The people who are sitting and learning in the base measures day in and day out, or the guy who writes a check for $1 million to keep that yeshiva running? Which one has the easier job, and which one has the harder job?
It's two different experiences, I think.
What?
Probably sitting and learning is harder, but it's different experience.
So it really depends.
Writing a check, it's
right. So it's right. So it depends. Really, it depends. It depends on the amount of mesiras nefesh that goes on in each one of them. But certainly, when when we're talking about the person who's sitting day in day out and working hard, So he's dedicating his life. The guy who's giving $1 million, probably he's got a lot more than that $1 million. If he's giving $1 million to yeshiva, he's probably giving a lot to a lot of places as well. If he's giving that much money to this particular yeshiva, so what was the hard part? The hard part was that he had to give it up. So a lot of times that's the easier way. It is easier, right? To write the check, meaning to give up the money versus the hard work. A lot of times it's easier. The point is what I'm trying to bring out is sometimes it's easier and it bring more peace just to pay the amount versus getting all worked up about the damage that's happening. Right? Oh, so that's what I'm saying. You have to know the situation, right? I'm not saying in every situation it should be like this. I'm just saying there is a big school of bias to look the other way in small situations like this. But if this is becoming a mahalach, that this is the way things are done in the house, in general, so that ain't a harami. We need to work through putting the mahalach on track, the right way on track, in order so that we shouldn't come to the point where we're broke or that there's bad chinuch. Right? But things break. Things happen all the time. So is a person getting nitpicking on every little thing, or no? He's looking the other way. No, it's not. Again, because looking at it from the perspective of the wife, it's not about the 6 plates that getting wasted, or the package of cups that you have to buy a whole new package of cups because the whole package of cups went to the garbage. It's not about that. It's about the way my husband views me. Does he view me as running the home the right way, running the home in a way that he's happy with me or not? And that is much, much bigger than just a one-time thing here or there. If it's taka, this is happening all the time, so then we should try to, do it in a way that we'll discuss as we move along. But we have to try to set up as best as we can a good mahalach without blame. Blame is a very, very strong word, and it's a word that is a woman has a very, very hard time dealing with, because then she feels that I don't deserve the love and respect that my husband, that I want to have from my husband, and that that can get into her very root of who she is.
In the situation with the plate,
right. Right.
There's a big what's the difference between what you're the one that's wasting the plate?
Right. So
I'm not going to point it at this person.
The difference is what's the approach? If the approach is you keep doing this, you keep doing that, that's an approach of blame, versus an approach of we need to work on how we're going to run our home finance. Right, it didn't happen. Let's try to do this in a way that maybe the reason is because she's too stressed and then she just grabs all the. I'm just giving it's a silly example, but let's see how we can do this in a way to make it work. Focus not on blame in the past, but ways of doing it better. Before a person is going to criticize, make sure that you're right about what you're criticizing about. It's not so pashut just to say this and this if you might be wrong. Who says what you're claiming actually happened? And if it actually happened, who says the halacha is the way that you said it? You should ask a shayla. It's okay to ask what happened over here. What happened with this? Especially if I saw this and this happen. What was this? What was this? Maybe we should be more careful about it. I'm going to talk to a Rav about it. Is this, maybe there's more lechatchila, but person should ask. Many situations where instead of having a fight, you just go to a Rav, which the couple should have a Rav to talk out. Like what can we do in these situations? And forces you to calm down. It forces you to calm down. No, not for every little thing is going to come up you're going to go to the Rav. No, but sometimes if there's a trend, the same thing keeps happening again and again and again. So then, yes, you need to be able to work out There are two different mahalchim over here, and we need to work out between us, and sometimes we can't, and therefore it is kedai to go to a Rav or whoever else. You have a mentor or somebody that both of you feel like this. This person will hear us out, and we'll be able to come to a compromise between us, so that we can live with each other. So that's what you should do. It's certainly very, very important to already establish from the beginning of marriage. You have a Rav that you go to when you have not just shilas and halacha, but shilas and hashkafa, and how to live, and what should we be doing, and why do we keep getting into fights? There was a couple that I know that came to me recently, and they were having certain fights. They were having pretty big fights, and they went to a certain Rav somewhere in a different city, and this Rav basically was. They were at a point where they're ready to get divorced, and they said whatever, without going through all the details. But Lamaisa, one of the things was you must have somebody to go to when it comes to all inyanim Yerushalayim Bayis. What? Obviously, not all of them, because you could be sitting in the Rav's house all day and all night, right? But there's certainly this couple was having so many issues and they were just keeping them inside. They weren't, and it was exploding. But so they never got any hadracha, and they never got any help. No, so now they have to come to kvir with like every single month they have to come to talk about it with this particular Rav. So again and again and again, and that's because if you wouldn't really need this, that was like they're forced into this. But really, something like this is something you shouldn't have to have a kaviz, but you should definitely have a place, a address to go to if you need to, and that's something that you should already establish early in the marriage. And if you haven't, so establish it now. Make it up now. I remember when I was a bacher in yeshiva in America. So when I first came to the yeshiva, so I asked the mashgiach for an appointment, and he was very, very busy. He's always very busy, and so I got an appointment, and I introduced myself. I'm a new bacher here, and I said to him, I asked for this appointment. I don't really have anything specific that I want to talk about. There is nothing, there's nothing that, I'm new, whatever, but you can talk about, very, very basic things, but there was nothing very specific issue that I wanted to talk about with him. I just said to him, I wanted to start making a kesher because I know that there will be things that I need to talk to you about. So I rather start the kesher beforehand to feel like we have a relationship beforehand, so that when those things come up, I'll be much more comfortable coming to speak with him. And since then, I've probably spoken to him, I don't know how many times, right? 100 times, 150 times, who knows how many over the course of the last more than 20 years. How many times I've spoken to him? Definitely way over a couple of hundred times. Who knows how many times that I've spoken to him? Because you have to establish that relationship beforehand. Getting back to our topic, a person has to try to be as positive as possible in all situations. It's easier to accept things when there's an atmosphere of happiness in the house. When you're trying to correct something, but it's in a good nature type of way, when it's coming from like a happy form of way, then it's much, much easier to accept it. People who are sad or angry, so then it creates a whole different atmosphere in the home. So every little thing becomes like something that you jump at. And sometimes a person needs to learn how to act, meaning he needs to be a good actor. You might be upset sometimes, but you still have to act in a way that you're not upset, right? Here is one of the places where they say, fake it till you make it. Meaning if you're angry, fake it. Be happy instead. Oh, will she be able to tell? Yeah. She'll be able to tell if that you're not really happy. She'll be able to tell. But it'll still change the atmosphere. She'll still be like, whoa, what's wrong? But Lamaisa, you still can create a happier overall atmosphere. And then after that, it's easier to discuss whatever needs to be discussed. She'll know a women generally can tell how people are feeling. Certainly her own husband, even if they've only been married for a shorter span of time, so they can still know. She'll still have a feeling of where her husband is holding in things, and will know that he is upset about something, but it still makes the atmosphere easier to deal with. It makes the atmosphere much more calm, and and uh, and you'll be able to get across, and she'll be willing to accept better the things that you have to say. When it comes to understanding where what how to fix something, so you have to understand what is it that's bothering you about some of the things that she's doing. Sometimes we don't even realize that people are acting in a very, very normal way, but it bothers us because of something in the past, some kind of past trauma, something from your past that subconsciously got into you. We don't even realize it sometimes. I'll give you a very, I'm not a therapist and a psychologist, but these things are pretty common, that the person says, when they were growing up, there were certain things that they didn't like, and when I get married, I'm not going to be like that. Somehow they end up in the exact same situation. How does that happen? They don't even realize that they end up in the exact same situation. So there are certain things in the subconscious that causes a certain trauma, and even if it's not exactly the same things, but there are certain words or certain phrases or certain actions that trigger somebody, that all of a sudden they get very, very upset. Let's just say a very basic situation where a woman is waiting to get picked up by her husband, and he's late. And he's on his way, and she's calling him, and he's not answering the phone, and he shows up 10 minutes late. And she's extremely, extremely upset. Where were you? I was trying to call you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was stuck in traffic, and there was a police officer right next to me. I'm not picking up the phone. When there's when there's a police guy right there next to me, when you're calling me, I am sorry. I'm a little bit late, 10 minutes late. Why some people are overly upset about that, and some people are, okay, 10 minutes, not a big deal. Well, it'll be okay. I understand you couldn't call me because of this situation. Why? It could be something from the past. It could be that she's traumatized. That when she was a child, she had to wait, and she didn't know where anybody was coming, and she was scared, and this, without even realizing it, this was triggered. So sometimes people overreact about things. We don't even know why. A lot of times, the best thing is just to be calm and try to speak things out. Like, why is this happening? And if a person can be a little bit more self-aware of where they're holding, so then, hey, why did I act like this? It's very kedai, very, very kedai. If a person ever gets into a disagreement or fight with their wife, after the fact, to think for themselves, what bothered me so much? Why did I get so upset about this? What was it? What was it? And maybe they can get to, like, why does this particular thing bother me so much? Some people, there's so many different types of people in the world, that it's is this same thing going to bother everybody? Some people more, some people less. Depends. It really, if it's something that, like, she told me she was going to the dry cleaners, and I needed my suit for Shabbos, and now I don't have a suit for Shabbos, and that's it. I'm stuck, and now what am I going to do? So I can understand you're upset. Even many people in that situation. Okay, what am I going to do? An example from today, from this past Shabbos. A guy knocks on my door this past Shabbos, this Erev Shabbos. Can I borrow a tie? Borrow a tie. So yeah, it's a big deal. Give him a tie. And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I forgot. I forgot to bring a tie for Shabbos. Packed everything and forgot to bring a tie. Now, okay, that's very simple. What if he would have said, his wife was in charge and she was supposed to be the one who was supposed to bring the tie? So would he have been upset at her? Why'd you forget my tie? Is it such a big deal? Not necessarily, but it depends. It depends on what's being built up. It depends on how often this has happened. It depends on what happened in the past. Some people, really, it's not such a big deal, and for some people it is a tremendous big deal. So if a person can come to evaluate, why am I so upset about this? To think about it after the fact. Why does this bother me so much? Then it's very possible for a person to get into their own head, like, I don't really need to be upset about this. It's something that's not like, it's really not such a big deal. And then a person can work out what is in the subconscious, what is bothering me about it. And it's the same thing, it works both ways. In a time when you're not upset, explain to me what upset you so much about this that I didn't call. It was only 10 minutes late. I understand, I'll try to be more sensitive if I'm running late. It's just a menschlich thing to do. To call and to tell you, right? You don't know, you're waiting for me, you heat up the food, don't heat up the food. It's a menschlich thing to do, but what is it? Why, is it such a big deal? Why'd you get so upset? No, it could be just that particular day she was very, very stressed out about something. So that's why this happened. Or she could say, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why this is, think about it. Why is this such a big deal? What is it? Sometimes these issues come, they make things so much bigger than they really are. But I remember years ago, my Rebbe was working with a certain couple. I knew him for sure, and I knew a little bit about her, and I know who her family was, and so I asked them. They were having mamish tremendous issues, and I asked my Rebbe, like what's going on over here, and he said the two of them, the two babies, both of them. They're babies. They're arguing about shtuyot. There's no real issues over here. But Basof, this couple got divorced. I think she had a baby. She just had a baby, and they had gotten divorced afterwards. Why? What happened? It was based on nothing. It was based on nothing. Yeah, it was based on nothing. But she got upset, and he called her a name, and and he didn't apologize. And then she told her mother, and her mother got so angry, and they called this one, and then the neighbors found out about it, and these things build up and build up and build up, and there's no base for it. There's no base at all. But there was so much poison that was put into this relationship already that it was too late. There was so much anger, so much hatred, and so much from the outside that was being pumped in by other people that have no shaykhs over here, that it was too late to save this marriage, which is very, very sad. Very, very sad situation. The maise, if a person gets to a point, stop beforehand. Why am I upset about this? And who am I turning to? Who am I going to ask? You have something that's bothering you. You don't know what to do. The best thing to do is to go to a Rav, to go to your Rebbe, to go to a mentor, go to somebody who both of you trust. It's many times not a good idea to go to a family member or a parent who many times already doesn't like the other one in the first place. Right? These things do happen, unfortunately. They never wanted to say it, but I never really liked your wife in the first place, and it's just another proof. It's not. This is not the place to do this. So, a person, the more they can, first of all, at a time that's calm, think about like what really bothered me over here. Number one, and number two, go to a Rav, go to somebody who you can both sit down and try to work things out. That is the best possible way of dealing with issues. Be'ez Hashem, next week we will talk much more specifically about what to do. How to talk or how not to talk when with criticism and different things like that, and we'll move on to other topics.